Ciao, welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Today, 2 Harley Davidsons. Let's get
Right, hope you enjoyed that, a little bit of fun and games. Here it is, this is the new bike in the stable. We've added this to the others, it's not been substituted for anything. It is an Aprilia RSV Mille, or RSV 1000 in English. It's the very first model, it's a 2000 model, they came out in 1999. This was the very first edition with the steel tank and basic wheels and basic everything. This was the bike that was initially £9,500 new. I've got a bit of connection to these because at the time I was working in the motorcycle trade as a dealer principal in a motorcycle dealership. We were an Aprilia main agent, and part of my job was introducing these to the market because it was I started in the bike trade in 98, 96, 98 or something, and it was right in that early period that these came along. I was responsible for selling these and marketing them when they first came out. It was Aprilia's first dive into a proper superbike. And I absolutely loved them, and I absolutely ached for one. But being a humble motorcycle salesman, I didn't have the wages for £9,500. Remember, in the year 2000, £9,500 was roughly twice the price of a Harley Sportster. Was it, Penny? About £5,000?
Mine was just under 5.
Right, in 2008, her Sportster cost £5,000. This was in 2000, and it was £9,500. Now, I know that exotic superbikes always used to cost ridiculous money, but they fall in price like you won't believe. This was not expensive. We've been out basically shopping, bought a little bit of something for fun. It's summertime, eBay, that looks cheap. She said, "Oh, go on, treat yourself." So I did. Thanks, hon. And what it based, this was £1,900, £1,900, 1,900 quid. And it's done 25,000 miles. I've got a full service history with it. It's been loved and cherished all its life. And it's absolutely mint. There's hardly a mark on it. It's fallen on its left-hand side some point in its life, but they're notorious for that because the side stand on them's a bit stabby and upright. They need a modification, and they do tend to fall over. But it's a few scratches. I can deal with that. This bike was so expensive in its day that it came down in price right away. The 2001 model was 8.5. Then the 2002, 3 models, they were £8,000. They did become more affordable. But this was the first ever one. The ordinary, straightforward RSV Mille. They later got plastic tank, they got OZ or Oz rims, the forged blue wheels, they got Öhlins forks, Öhlins rear suspension, Öhlins steering damper, they got loads of exotic stuff. But the basic cooking model was the one I wanted, and I couldn't afford it in the day, and I saw it cheap, and I just bought it. Simple as that, isn't it?
Yep.
Simple. One of the things here, obviously this brings us to a point, obviously I don't need to justify it. At the end of the day, I've bought this, I'm going to have fun on it. It's not going to be the subject of videos, really, to be honest. It doesn't need anything. I've got service history with it, like you wouldn't believe. I've got a receipt for a service 6 months ago for £850. Everything that I could possibly have done and made a video has been done. Rebuilt the calipers, new headstock bearings, new fork seals. Every fluid on the bike has been replaced, and it is brand new. All the fluids, brake fluid, oil, everything, the coolant, all has been brand new replaced, and it's done less than 200 miles of that. It was owned by a middle-aged carpenter. The guy was simply a job in Chippy, going around in his van, working hard. He did a lot of work in France, and he took it abroad with him in the van, which is, again, it's got a few marks where tools fell on it in the van, but honestly, this has not been used. It's a superbike. These intense, full-on superbikes never really do the mileage. They're a little bit like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. They just get used for posing on Sundays. They're not someone's every bike. Did have a Hayabusa. Those of you who watch the channel know that I traded Hayabusa for the Scrambler about 2.5, 3 years ago? 2 years ago or so. And I do like a fast bike, but at the time the Hayabusa was pointless. It couldn't do everything I needed to do. We've got the General now, that's great for touring a distance for me and her, and the Scrambler and so on, which is, I love it. And this is just something for sunny days, for a little bit of stupidity and hoonery, which is what it's all about. With a bike like this, to be honest, you can't afford not to buy it. £1,900, I can get the money back for this in a heartbeat. There was a time, those of you who watch that or are interested in sports bikes, we do get a lot of support from the sports bike fraternity, and those of you who've got GSX R1000s, Fireblades, R1s, you'll know yourself. Superbike sales of these full-on thousand, you know, the 1 litre Porsche eaters, these bikes are in global freefall. They're not selling enough to even keep their agencies. Honda are moaning that they can't sell enough Fireblades to go racing. Bimota have just had to tie up with BMW in order to go racing with the new Bimota because they can't sell 1,000 bikes worldwide. That's all they need to sell to go racing to get the homologation, and they can't. They've had to tie up with BMW in order to make that happen. So these bikes are extremely hard to sell new because they're extremely expensive. The new Fireblade, what was it? We checked it this morning, didn't we? 11 grand?
11.
About £11,000 now for a new Fireblade. £11,000. This was £9,500. You're paying 5 figures now for anything. Look at the new KTM Super Duke R, the 1290, £14,000. 15 years on, when that's the age of this thing, that's going to be £2,500. It really is. If you don't think it is, wait and see. It will. All superbikes fall in price. Harley Davidson don't. The classic Triumphs don't. Anything that looks classic. Motor Guzzi's hold their price very well as well. The reason for it is that if you buy a 2004 Sportster, it's the same bike as this year's bike as a 2015. It looks fundamentally the same. But with superbikes, because of the racing thing, because of the advancement in racing, they have to sell the bike basically that they intend to go racing with. So it has to be advancing every single year. And the march of technology keeps going forward, and that means if you go and spend 10 grand on a superbike, 3 years down the line, it's way outmoded, and your need, that fantastic need that the superbike owner has to have the latest, most high technologically advanced bike, it's gone. He's outdated. He wants the next thing. And of course, that means that every year your bike becomes a little bit more outmoded, a little bit more dated, and a little bit less desirable. That's the reason they're so cheap second-hand. You can buy them for nothing. It's like so many things. Anything that's expensive, like expensive 7 Series BMW, 15 years down the line, you pick them up for 2 grand in the auctions, and that's a very similar situation. So what that brings me to is, I basically have picked up a cheap bike, a cheap super bike. I'm going to have loads of fun on it. Anything I have to do, I will make a video of it, and if you need to know anything about them, I do have a great deal of history with these bikes. I know a great deal about them, especially about the telemetry and the clock dash, programming the clock dash. If you've got an RSV, you've got any issues, drop us a line, all the rest of it. What I want to do is launch something new. Now, Penny and I have been talking about whether we do a little bit, remember the FROs? Remember the FROs?
Yeah.
Okay, we get an awful lot of requests for the FRO logs. That's where I used to ride along and moan about the world in general. And it was good fun. We did about 15, 16 of them?
Yeah.
No, I can't remember. And it was good fun, but there's only so much to moan about. But we want to do something else that's a little bit focused on bringing you in. We are very, very lucky. We get a great deal of interaction from you. We get a great deal of support and feedback from you. So what we're going to try and do is do some debating. I think that's what it's about. We bikers, we family of motorcyclists in the world, the one thing we have is an opinion. We have an opinion on everything, don't we? We like to cast our opinion as well. Read the comments boxes on any of our videos. And you'll know also, we love to answer. We love to answer every single comment if we can. So let's get a debate going about this business. Is a brand new superbike a good buy? That's the debate for today. We're going to do a few of them. I've got about 8 subjects lined up. We're going to drag Mr. Dyson in for some of them later on because he's a very philosophical person and he's a great street philosopher. He's always got a good idea and a good lean on something, a different angle than I have. So they're going to get more interesting as they go. But this is number 1. So this is debate number 1. I want it to go in the comments box underneath the video. Have a look underneath, read through the comments, you add yours. What do you think of buying a brand new bike? What's a GSXR 750 today, just under £10,000, a Hayabusa, just under £12,000. All these bikes at 5-figure sums of money almost, are they a good buy? Are they a good purchase? Think about it. You can go out for £150 down, £150 a month. You can purchase a GSXR 750. You can purchase an adventure bike, whatever you want to own, and you can ride it up the road and you can enjoy it for 3 years, £150 a month. And then your final payment on the finance is 9 grand because you haven't paid anything off. You just rent them. That's how it works. It's balloon payment finance. If you know about it, if you don't, have a look. Quite simply, you pay a silly little ridiculous sum you can easily afford, but the final payment is the future value. What the dealer, if you've never seen it, it simply works like this. They take a bike, it's say 10 grand, they go, right, 3 years at 150 quid, and then it will be worth, at the end of 3 years, it'll be worth 7 grand. So we'll make the final payment 7 grand, which means you can take the bike back to the dealer, hand it back, drop the keys off, and walk away. And you've rented it for 3 years, a brand new bike. You can just do it again for the next one, and the next one. Do you have to own anything? Now, what is it you call it? The pride of ownership.
Pride of ownership.
You don't get the pride of ownership because you don't own it. It becomes something you rent, you borrow, and there's massive restrictions. You have to get them serviced at the dealer. You can't modify it, blah, blah, blah. But these days, why would you modify a modern superbike? You don't need to. Just go and ride them and enjoy them if you're that kind of person. There's a lot of people out there treat their bike like a domestic appliance. It's just something you get them to and from work. They'll agree the mileage with the dealer. They get a future payment done. So is a brand new bike, on that sense, a good buy? You pay the VAT. We always moan about that, don't we?
Yeah, always.
Always pay the VAT on a brand new bike, 20%. But if somebody sold you a used bike and said, I'm going to put new tyres, new chain sprockets, new everything, I'm going to give it all brand new for 20% premium, of course you'd say yes. Because you haven't got to do it yourself later on. It doesn't wear out. So a new bike, there is a massive depreciation day one, but you don't have any wear and tear, zero. It's brand new. So there's benefits in that. But also, 1,900 quid. If you own your brand new bike and you paid 9.5 grand for it, 15 years down the line, you polished and loved and cherished it, and it's worth less than the price of a scooter. You know, what's a 50cc Peugeot Speedfight? It's about £1,900.
£1,900.
£1,900. So honestly, think about it. Is it a good, or is it better to buy them second hand, use it for a year, and get that second hand money back again? Because I can get £2 grand for this any day. Its book value in Glass's guide is between 1,800 and 3.5 grand retail. So if I went to a dealer and this was a warranty and brand new tyres, it does need a pair of tyres. That was part of the deal. If it would be 2,995 all day long, 2,795, and in that sense I got a bargain. So there we are. Let's have a debate in the comments box. Stick your comments underneath, see what you think. Just tell us, is it a good idea to buy a new bike? Is it a good purchase? Is it a sound spend? Would you do that, or do you think it's a rubbish way to buy a bike? Or anything in that sense, same as cars. And don't expect, we can't answer all of them, so don't expect us to answer, but you answer. Go down through the comments, answer other people, see what they've said. Let's get a debate going between all of us who are watching this. Good idea, Pen?
Yeah, because we'll kick off some proper debates in the garage.
Yes, we will. In the future, we're going to do more of these. This is number 1. Probably got about at least 6, and there's new ideas coming all the time. So, debate video number 1, is a superbike, or a brand new bike, sorry, is a brand new bike a good purchase? Okay? Thanks for watching, Ride Safe. Let's get debating.
Pulses 50-foot high through the fumes and haulage. It's sometimes hard to know if the prize is stateside.